What's the easiest way to freak out an archaeologist? Well, jump out from behind a wall and yell, "Boo." But if that doesn't do it, just toss them something they don't understand, something very ancient, unexplained, and completely out of place. The kind of thing that makes books useless and theories fall apart. In fact, you could just show them this video, as we're going to talk about 15 of the strangest archaeological finds that scare scientists. Let's start off this countdown with number 15, the Brazen Bull. Among history's most brutal torture devices, few match the horror of the Brazen Bull. Crafted in ancient Greece over 2,500 years ago, this hollow bronze sculpture was shaped like a life-sized bull and designed with twisted precision. A victim would be locked inside, and fires lit beneath the metal would slowly roast them alive. Pipes and acoustic features were engineered to turn the screams into sounds mimicking a bull's roar, adding mockery to suffering. The device was the invention of Perilos, a sculptor eager to impress the tyrant Phalaris of Acragas. But the story ends with poetic justice. Phalaris demanded a demonstration and had Perilos thrown into the very contraption he built. Whether that's legend or truth, the Brazen Bull remains a symbol of how far cruelty can stretch under the guise of invention. It wasn't just a torture device, it was psychological warfare, a piece of engineering that didn't just end lives, but tried to turn agony into performance. Number 14. The Mask of Alexander Pedin. During one of Scotland's most brutal periods of religious suppression, a preacher named Pedin refused to stay silent. But with his name on the government's most wanted list, speaking openly was a death sentence. His solution was chilling. He wore a leather mask, complete with human hair and even fake teeth, to hide in plain sight. It wasn't just a disguise, it was armor, built to protect his voice. With that grotesque face, he crossed borders and delivered sermons while blending in with strangers. The mask stayed hidden for generations, only resurfacing in 1840 in a cottage near Kilmarnock. Before that, it had passed through his family quietly, like a relic of defiance. What Pedin pulled off was rare. He survived, preached, and died on his own terms, not by execution but of old age. That mask, it wasn't just a cover, it was rebellion molded into flesh and leather. Seeing it now, you don't just see a disguise, you see a man who wouldn't let fear take his voice. Number 13. The Altmora Man. In the Lamalunga Cave network near Altmora, researchers found something that looked more like a Hollywood monster than an archaeological find. What they found was the fossilized skeleton of a Neanderthal, now known as the Altmora Man, who likely fell into a sinkhole during a hunting trip nearly 150,000 years ago. Trapped with no way out, he starved to death, and over time the cave itself began sealing him into its walls. Layers of calcium carbonate slowly coated his bones, preserving him like a museum display behind a pearly shroud. Today, he's still partially embedded in stone, frozen mid-consumption by the cave that claimed him. In 20 years of study, only a small piece of the shoulder was removed to confirm his identity and age. Dutch artists Kennis and Kennis later created a life reconstruction of Altmora Man, peeling back the layers of mineral to reveal his features. His resting place remains untouched, both for preservation and maybe because nobody wants to test what happens when you mess with a cave that eats people. Number 12. Mummy Wanita. She was a child when she died, high in the Andes, left behind by her people in a sacred ritual that froze her in time. Found in 1995 on Mount Ampato in Peru, Mummy Wanita was so well preserved that even her skin, hair, and garments survived the centuries. She wasn't buried by accident, this was a sacrifice. The Incas believed mountains were alive, and offering a child was their way of honoring those powerful spirits. Her final moments were part of a carefully planned ceremony. With her were ceremonial objects, wrapped with care, each one carrying weight in Inca beliefs. Her face, peaceful in death, gave scientists the rare chance to study a human sacrifice untouched by time. She now rests in the Museum of Andean Sanctuaries. People still line up to see her, not just out of curiosity, but because there's something haunting about the way she lies there. A child who became a symbol of a civilization's devotion and the price of faith. Number 11. The Curse of King Casemir V's Tomb. Well, now this one is truly scary. In the 1970s, a group of researchers opened the tomb of King Casimir IV in Poland, not knowing the chilling aftermath that would follow. 4 of the 12 archaeologists involved died shortly after the tomb was disturbed. Whispers of a curse spread fast, comparing it to the infamous tale of King Tutankhamun. Casimir's tomb hadn't been opened in nearly 500 years, and even the involvement of Cardinal Karol Wojtyła, who would later become Pope John Paul II, couldn't shield the project from tragedy. For a while, the exact cause of the deaths remained a mystery. Later analysis uncovered that the tomb had been infected with a deadly strain of Aspergillus flavus, a toxic fungus that had thrived undisturbed since medieval times. Scientists eventually reburied Casemir, but the fear surrounding that tomb still lingers. Whether you believe in curses or not, opening a sealed crypt sealed for centuries clearly carries more risks than expected, some of them very real and very deadly. Number 10. The Benben Stone. Among the sacred relics of ancient Egypt, few carry as much mystery as the Benben Stone. It wasn't just a religious symbol, it was considered the origin point of creation itself. According to Egyptian belief, the stone rose from the chaotic waters of Nu, marking the moment the world began to take form. From that single point, gods were born and order emerged. The Benben stood in Heliopolis at the Temple of the Phoenix and was directly linked to Atum, the god who shaped the universe. Its shape, a tapering stone or pyramidion, later inspired the design of pyramids across Egypt. The name Benben shares roots with the word for fertilization, tying it to ideas of rebirth, energy, and cosmic balance. Some even believe the stone held the power to enlighten or transform those near it. Over time, it drew attention from both scholars and conspiracy theorists alike. Whether it was just symbolic or something more, this story is scary. Number 9. The Duk Box. Sitting in a museum in Las Vegas behind layers of protective casing is a wine cabinet with a history no one wants to mess with. The Duk Box is said to hold a malicious spirit tied to Jewish folklore, summoned according to the story by a Holocaust survivor attempting to contact the dead. What began as a ritual meant to fight back against evil became a source of horror. Every owner of the box since has reported disturbing experiences, from shadowy visions to terrifying strings of bad luck. Even museum curator Jason Haxton, who once possessed it, claimed the object triggered bizarre health issues and unexplained phenomena. He eventually sealed it in a gold-lined container, hoping to block its influence. When paranormal investigator Zach Baggins acquired it in 2017, it became a permanent exhibit in his haunted museum. Rapper Post Malone reportedly had an encounter with it that he believes triggered a terrifying series of events, from accidents to near-death moments. Some relics are meant to be observed, not handled. Number 8. The Aztec Whistles of Death. In the ruins of an Aztec temple near Mexico City, archaeologists uncovered a skeleton clutching 2 bizarre instruments, skull-shaped whistles that would earn the name Whistles of Death. For years, no one dared blow them. Whether out of superstition or common sense, the eerie craftsmanship was enough to keep even seasoned researchers at arm's length. Eventually, curiosity won. One brave soul tried the whistle and unleashed a sound that no one was ready for. It wasn't music. It was pure nightmare fuel. The sound is sharp, guttural, and so unsettling it feels like it should come with a warning label. Researchers now believe the Aztecs used these whistles in ceremonies, possibly during human sacrifices, or in warfare as a psychological weapon. Just imagine hearing 100 of these wailing from the battlefield as warriors advanced. It wasn't just intimidation, it was a sonic panic attack. Some reconstructions today try to replicate the sound, but listening once is enough. After that, silence suddenly feels like a blessing. Number 7. The Monkey Burial Ground of Berenice. In the coastal ruins of Berenice, Libya, archaeologists uncovered something few expected: a cemetery for monkeys. These weren't wild animals dumped or discarded. They were carefully buried, some wrapped in linen, others laid beside food offerings or artifacts. It's believed they were beloved pets, possibly symbols of wealth or status among Roman-era elites living in the area. The graves date back nearly 2,000 years and show a surprising emotional connection. Alongside the monkeys, remains of dogs, cats, and even a falcon were found, each arranged as if they mattered deeply to someone. The monkeys were likely imported from India, which wasn't cheap. That alone speaks to the care and effort that went into owning one. What stood out most to researchers was the tenderness of the burials. One archaeologist compared it to laying a baby to rest. This was more than ancient pet ownership. It was a glimpse into a human-animal bond that crossed species and time. Even centuries later, the feeling behind it is still there. Number 6. Elephantine Island Granite Box. We all know that we know nothing about ancient Egyptians, and this thing makes it even more puzzling. On Egypt's Elephantine Island, in the ancient ruins, there's a granite box that doesn't play by the rules. It's shaped with such symmetry and polished so cleanly, you'd expect to find it in a modern lab. But it's been there for over 4,000 years, and that's the real problem. Granite is no joke to work with. Even with today's tech, shaping it takes time and serious gear. But the ancient Egyptians are said to have done this with bronze tools. Bronze doesn't cut granite. It bends. It breaks. Try it yourself. It won't even leave a scratch. Yet here it stands, smooth as glass, corners sharp, surface untouched by time. Some say it's a sarcophagus. Others just call it a mystery. Whatever it was for, one thing's clear: whoever built it had knowledge beyond what's recorded. This isn't just impressive. It's a challenge, one that still hasn't been answered. Number 5. Danagala Circular Rock. Danagala Circular Rock in Sri Lanka's Polarmo district carries a reputation that's hard to ignore. Locals call it Alien Mountain, and standing in front of its cave-covered face, you start to understand why. Inside the caves are hundreds of carvings, symbols that don't follow any clear logic, no system, no story, just pure chaos, etched in stone. But these aren't the doodles of a lost traveler. They're Neolithic petroglyphs, likely carved over 125,000 years ago, making them the only known examples from that period in Sri Lanka. The carvings show human figures, animals like dogs and peacocks, abstract lines, arrows, and what appear to be ladders. Some of them are grouped into bind runes, where the meaning gets even murkier. It's no surprise the area became a magnet for UFO sightings, especially after the mountain picked up its now famous nickname. The symbols don't speak our language, they were never meant to, but they're still here, and not a single person alive knows exactly why. Alright guys, now let's talk about Number 4. The Lydian Horde Curse. Unearthed by looters in the 1960s, the Lydian Horde, also called the Karun Treasure, sparked international outrage and whispers of a deadly curse. Found in western Turkey, the collection of 363 precious artifacts dates back nearly 2,700 years and originally came from an elite Lydian tomb. Instead of reporting the discovery, 3 men blasted the tomb open with dynamite, sold the items on the black market, and made millions. But their fortunes didn't last. Locals say all 3 looters died under mysterious circumstances not long after. The artifacts eventually ended up in the hands of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, which, after a lengthy court battle, was forced to return them to Turkey in 1993. Though stories of curses remain folklore, the timing of the deaths only fueled the legend. The Horde is now on display at the Ujak Museum of Archaeology, guarded more carefully than ever. Whether cursed or not, it's a reminder digging into the past doesn't always come without consequences. Number 3. The Child Mummies of Palermo. Deep inside Sicily's Capuchin catacombs lie 163 child mummies, eerily saved, heartbreakingly still. Their tiny bodies date back over 200 years, yet their identities remain unknown. While the catacombs house thousands of adult remains, it's these children who draw the most attention. British researchers are now undertaking a 2-year study to understand who these children were and how they died. Some look as though they've simply fallen asleep, their faces delicate and undisturbed. Others were fitted with artificial glass eyes, adding an unsettling sense of life to their stillness. Dr. Dario Piombino Mescali, leading the research, notes their preservation is unlike anything seen before, calling them tiny dolls. What puzzles scientists most is why these children were mummified in the first place, a practice usually reserved for the elite or clergy. Using modern imaging tools like portable X-rays, the team hopes to uncover health conditions, social status, and the silent story locked inside each child's body, an effort to give faces and names back to the long-forgotten. Number 2. Galviharaya. In the ancient city of Polarmo, Sri Lanka, the Galviharaya stands frozen in stillness, but not in silence. This stone monument isn't just a temple, it's a message carved into rock, stretching across time. Built during the reign of King Parakramabahu I in the 12th century, the site features 4 massive statues of the Buddha. Each one is carved straight into the face of a granite outcrop, a seated figure, a standing figure, and a reclining one, all shaped with precision that defies crude tools. Nearby, a mysterious figure carved into a hidden cave wall adds another layer, but its identity remains unclear. Some believe these are the finest examples of Sinhalese rock carving to survive history. Even more remarkable, inscriptions at the site recount how Parakramabahu gathered monks here to reform the Buddhist order, setting a new code of discipline. Stone doesn't preach, but this place echoes with intent. Every curve, every line was carved not just for devotion, but as a permanent act of cultural memory. Number 1. Kayam Manawa Wall. In the dense forest near Lake Taupo, New Zealand, the Manawa Wall stands like a glitch in the landscape. Perfect rectangular blocks, stacked so neatly, it looks like the remains of some forgotten fortress. But here's where things start to twist. Mainstream scientists say this isn't a wall at all, just a natural rock formation. According to them, what looks like perfectly cut stone is just fractured ignimbrite, shaped by cooling magma and time. Still, the symmetry is hard to ignore. Local voices claim it was built by the Wanita, a tribe said to predate the Maori. But the Maori themselves don't recognize the Wanita as real, adding another layer of dispute to the story. If that tribe existed, and if they built this, then it rewrites the history of New Zealand's early civilizations. If it's natural, then nature did something so eerily precise, it accidentally fooled humans into thinking it was architecture. Either way, the wall holds its ground, quiet, solid, and unexplained. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, well, like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.